The story of Nambi Narayanan is a thriller soaked in tragedy. The ISRO scientist was a brilliant, arrogant, adamant rule breaker, a man Tom Cruise's Maverick from Top Gun might have admired. Does this translate into a stirring film? Let's find out. Narayanan was the first from ISRO to get a full scholarship to an Ivy League American university, Princeton. He used his earnestness and charm to get 400 million pounds of equipment free from the head of Rolls-Royce. He then ran a sort of covert space mission in France so that Indian scientists could learn from their French counterparts without them realizing that they were parting with more knowledge than they should. And at one point, he flew out equipment for rockets from the erstwhile USSR. In Rocketry, the Nambi Effect, this is staged like a scene from a James Bond movie. The Americans chase Narayanan, but he, in superhero mode, stays one step ahead. Above all, Narayanan was a patriot. He refused a NASA job with a fat paycheck. For this unstinting service to science and country, Narayanan was accused of espionage and subjected to custodial torture. His wife went into shock. Even his children were attacked. Eventually, the Supreme Court acquitted him, and in 2019, he was awarded a Padma Bhushan. But what's intriguing is that the perpetrators of this treachery were never found. A man's life was horrifically derailed, and to date, no one knows exactly why. Though the film gives us hints that it might have been an international conspiracy, which explains the tagline, "Sometimes a man wronged is a nation wronged."
सबको लगता है कि लिक्विड इंजन मेरी वजह से फेल हुआ है, लेकिन सच तो ये है कि मैं आपकी वजह से फेल हुआ हूं.
It's a true story, so astounding that no writer could have made it up. Our Madhavan became so obsessed with telling it that he not only took on the role of Narayanan but also multitasked as director, writer, producer. This film was shot in 3 languages, released in 6, and filmed in the US, Scotland, France, and Russia. Rocketry, the Nambi Effect, is a Herculean passion project. Madhavan even wrote the lyrics. The result is a film that is well-intentioned and in parts moving, but it's also clumsy both in content and craft and overtly simplistic. The film begins with the horror of Narayanan being arrested, but then it transitions into an interview format in which the scientist is talking about his life's journey with none other than Shah Rukh Khan. Shah Rukh, who plays himself, is the Sutradhar. He's asking questions to draw out key moments, he's delivering reams of exposition, and also at the end, on behalf of the country, he asks Narayanan for forgiveness. The camera focuses on the teary faces of the crew shooting the interview, cueing all of us to get emotional. But we have no idea why a Bollywood star is doing a talk show with a scientist. This is not a film invested in details. Narayanan is a fascinating man. He's so single-minded that at one point he hides a horrific truth from a colleague so that the colleague can finish the task at hand. It's inhumane but also practical. This bit is the most interesting part of the first half, which functions mostly as a highlights reel. The screenplay is keen to establish how path-breaking Narayanan was, so we skip from one accomplishment to the next. Characters around Narayanan also keep commenting on his swashbuckling brilliance with lines like, "You must be the real deal, Nambi. You're an exceptional man, Nambi. You're a dangerous man, Nambi. बड़ी तीखी चीज हो तुम."
पागल होने की ताकत आपसे बेहतर और कौन समझ सकता है?
The film doesn't trust that us viewers will understand Narayanan's heroism until it's repeated constantly. But the dialogue cheerfully tosses reams of scientific jargon at us. There is chatter about solid fuels, liquid fuels, cryogenic engines, stability margins, and more, which quickly becomes a slog. The actions on screen are jaw-dropping. At one point, a group of scientists learn French and work like part-time spies. But the telling remains episodic and flat. And did it really happen like this? The film begins with a disclaimer that events have been dramatized, but Madhavan has repeatedly said that everything we see is true. Rocketry, the Nambi Effect, works better in the second half when it returns to the espionage episode. Madhavan, the actor and director, steps up. The torture scenes are horrifying. Madhavan also stages a scene that echoes the iconic Mashal scene, in which Dilip Kumar rages and begs for help on a lonely street as Wahida Rahman lays dying. Here, Narayanan and his wife are stranded in the pouring rain. As he desperately attempts to stop vehicles, the camera tilts up to the Indian flag, underscoring the irony of what the great patriot has been reduced to. The screenplay repeatedly underlines this patriotism and also leans pointedly into his religion.
ऑक्सफोर्ड डिक्शनरी में देशभक्ति का मतलब समझाने के लिए उन्होंने तुम्हारी तस्वीर छाप रखी है.
Our first visual of him is in the puja room in his home. At crucial moments, he prays. Narayanan is a true blue Hindu patriot. There is little room for ambiguity here. The film functions as a straight-up manifesto in defense of the man and his actions. By the end, Shah Rukh is directly addressing the audience and we see the real-life Narayanan, at which point it's impossible not to be moved. Rocketry, the Nambi Effect, has a stellar team. The cinematography is by Sirsha Ray and the music has been composed by Sam CS, who recently wowed us in Sural. Rajat Kapoor in a bad wig makes an appearance as Vikram Sarabhai. To counter this, please watch the terrific Ishwaq Singh in Rocket Boys. And Simran does a solid job as Narayanan's long-suffering wife. As I watched Rocketry, the Nambi Effect, I admired Madhavan's zeal and, this creative leap of faith that he takes, but I couldn't help feeling that there was ample material here for a far more rousing film. My recommendation is watch the film on streaming for the tale rather than the telling. So that's my take on Rocketry, the Nambi Effect. What did you guys think of the film? Please tell me in the comments below.